Morning. Here on my way to church. I was thinking, I think I should do a video. I've had 6 or 7 new subscribers this week, which is awesome. So, thanks to the new people. Uh, I don't really care if anyone actually watches my videos, but it's kind of neat that people actually are seeing my channel and subscribing. So, kind of interesting. So, thanks. Um, but I was on my way to church this morning. I needed to stop and get some gas. And I actually a little dragging feet today. I skipped Bible classes. I don't have to teach today, so I was just feeling awful when I woke up this morning, sore. I running a chainsaw all day yesterday, so I was pretty tired. So I skipped class, which I normally wouldn't do, but just couldn't get myself to get out of bed. I was awake, just couldn't get up the motivation to get ready and go. But it's important, so I'm gonna make it a worship. I stopped to get gas, and this woman pulled up next to me when my pump was about to finish up. And she asked me if it was prepaid gas or not. I was like, what? What do you mean? And she was like, do you have to pay before you pump or do you pay after you pump? It's like, no, ma'am, you have to go inside and pay, or you can pay at the pump with the card. She's like, okay, some places let you pump and then go in and pay. I was like, oh, interesting. I never heard of that. I'd never heard of that in my life. Pumping gas before you paid for it? My immediate thought was, why would anybody who owns a gas station allow people to pay after they've pumped the gas? They'll just drive away, not pay for it. That just sounds like the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. And I got to thinking, I bet that used to be a thing. And I haven't even, this was 5 minutes ago. I've never even heard of it before, not done any research. But I wonder if at some point in the history of the earth, history of gasoline combustion engines and cars being on the roads, I wonder if it used to be that you pumped your gas up first and then you paid for it. I bet it was. See, I was thinking, 100 years ago, I'd like to make the assumption that people were probably more honest as a whole, maybe. I mean, you really had to be, because especially if you lived in a small community, like the place where I live today, 100 years ago, this place would have had maybe 300 people living here. Today, there's thousands, but it's still considered a small town. 100 years ago, you couldn't be dishonest. Everybody would know. And you'd get run out of town. Today, you can treat half the people you encounter like garbage and be dishonest and cheat and lie and steal. And 90% of the people who you encounter on a day-to-day basis are never going to know. You'll be none the wiser. It's really a strange thing. The world as it is today is so backwards from what people need to be good people. And the world as it is today encourages bad behavior. It encourages people to do the wrong thing. The way our world is set up today, because there's no consequences. A lot of times there's not. And now there can be, but the consequences are often lesser than what they should be. That's cool. I'm about to pass a Toyota Supra, one of my favorite cars ever made. It's a blue one. Toyota GR Supra. Man, I'd love to have one of those. That's my dream car. I want the current generation Supra with a 2JZ swap. Man, how cool would that be? Anyway, man, that's a nice looking car. Anyway, so that was my thought for today, is that people as a whole need to be more honest. think a lot of our problems in our world can be boiled down to honesty. People lie all the time. And, even, we catch ourselves all the time doing things like that. I catch myself, exaggerating the truth, or maybe, telling a little white lie to make myself look better every now and again. That's something we all need to do better at, is be more honest. Because if it's to a point where society has become so dishonest as a whole that businesses have to change the way they operate to prevent theft. I mean, you look at it everywhere. Contractors have to charge up front these days. If it's anything more than a cheap job, if the job's anything more than $500, you got to charge a portion of it up front most of the time, or people won't pay you. All these grocery stores and department stores like Walmart and Target have to have cameras everywhere, and have to have a whole department in their store of people that are hired to be theft detectors or theft deterrent or whatever it is that they call them. They have to have people check your receipts as you leave the Walmart and go through your bags and make sure you're not trying to take stuff you didn't pay for. It's really just shameful. There is no reason for you to be shoplifting stuff from Walmart. Nothing there is that expensive anyway. And the only things that are that expensive you don't need. You don't need computers and Apple Watches and junk. I mean, yeah, if you have the money for it, it's nice stuff to have. But look at this. This watch, 5 years old. Same batteries it's had, keeps time perfectly. I don't wear a watch all the time, but whenever I do wear one, I'll pick up this watch, I'll put it on. I didn't pay for it. I got it for Christmas when I was 16. I'm about to be 21. That's about 5 years old. It's a Timex. I think it was $25. Gets the job done, tells me what time it is. And it looks sharp too. And I love the way this thing looks. I love a nice chrome watch with a brown band. Matches my belt perfectly. Got a chrome, silver chrome buckle. Brown belt. It's got like eagles in it and stuff. That's one thing that's actually one of those few things that I think is worth spending extra money on, is a good belt. I think I paid $40 for this belt at a trade show. It's like 1/4-inch thick leather. It's like, regular belt width, but the actual leather, it's like whole grain, big leather. This thing is held up. I've had it for almost 3 years now, and it's been a terrific belt. Now, I used to wear through a Walmart belt every couple of months, or at least once a year. Yeah. Anyway, people need to be more honest. They can't have all these liars running around doing whatever they want, lying, cheating, and stealing. It's just ridiculous, really. There's no reason for all this junk. No reason for it at all. People got to act right. If you're a young man out there and you are just doing whatever you want to do, living how you want, lying and stealing, my question is why? There's no reason for all that junk. Quit. Stop it. There ain't no reason for all that. There's no reason for you to be acting like a spoiled brat who was given everything he ever wanted in his life, and now whenever you're on the hook for yourself and you can't afford it, stealing it. Ain't no reason for that. Ain't no reason for you never having nothing in your life and never having anything worth any value and thinking you deserve something worth value and going and stealing it because you can't afford it. Ain't no reason for that. Quit. I mean, the only time where it might ever be justifiable to steal something is if you need food to feed your family. But in the way our society is set up today, you don't even need to do that. There's other options. Almost any family that's struggling can get on welfare. I mean, obviously it's much harder for some people than others. And I don't really like the idea of being on welfare, and it's a little bit of a pride issue for me. I don't think I could ever sign up for welfare, but there's other options than stealing. And just because you do it for the right reason doesn't make the actions right. It's like in 1 Samuel in the Bible, book of 1 Samuel, chapter 15, verse 22. Saul is sent to go to war against the Amalekites. And God tells me, you go and you wipe out every last one of them. You don't let a single one of them survive. You don't take any plunder. You destroy everything. You destroy their livestock. You destroy all the people. You kill the king. Wipe them off the face of the earth. So Saul goes to the country of the Amalekites, and he starts slaughtering. But he does a few things wrong. God told him to destroy everything. Well, him and his men plunder. They steal, take things from the people. They allow some of the people to live. They allow the choicest of the cattle. They bring them back. They say they're going to sacrifice them to the Lord. Whether Saul was being honest that his intentions were to sacrifice them to God or not, he disobeyed the command. And then chiefly, he let the king live. He took the king back as a captive. And so as he's doing all this, God comes to Samuel in a vision and says, look, I should never have made Saul king. I'm going to replace him. He can't be king after what he's done. He's completely disobeyed me. And so the next morning, Saul comes to Samuel, and Samuel says, why have you disobeyed the Lord? Saul says, well, he told me to do all this, but I did it this way because I wanted to have some things to sacrifice to him and give to him. And Samuel's like, no, he told you to do something, you didn't do it. So Samuel says to Saul, is not obedience better than sacrifice? See, Saul, if he was telling the truth, and I believe he was, he would have sacrificed those animals to God. He had pure intentions in why he wasn't doing what God told him to. But obedience is better than sacrifice. There is no deed that you can do so good, so great, and so merciful and justified that it overcomes the wrong of disobeying God. In Psalms chapter 40, there's a verse, I think verse 7. It says, sacrifices and offerings and burnt offerings and sin offerings and grain offerings you have not desired, but that which is in the scroll, which pertains to me. Your law I will write on my heart. That's not, an exact quote. It is pretty close. But essentially what it's saying there is that God doesn't want your sacrifices and offerings. He doesn't want your works, things that you do. He doesn't care about that. All he wants for you to do what he has written in his book. His book that applies to us. People can make the justifications, oh, well, it's too hard to get by now, I have to steal. Or it's too hard to do whatever it is. You know, there's too much. It's too difficult to live these days. You can't do it honest. That's not true. You can. It's hard, but you can. And no amount of justifying doing wrong will ever make it okay. Wrong is wrong no matter the reason why you did it. Stealing is wrong no matter why you have to steal. You don't have to. There's other ways. So, that's my thoughts for today. I'll leave it there. Appreciate it for anyone who watched. And hopefully you get something from this. God bless you.